Welcome to Apple Creek Cooking Channel. Hi, my name is Tanya Rose. I'm a certified natural nutritionist and a culinary nutrition expert. Today, I'll be showing you how to make a simple and easy plant-based breakfast recipe. And today we'll be looking at scrambled tofu. So for my ingredients, I have, of course, tofu, and that's non-GMO. Then we have garlic, we have green onions, regular onions, sweet peppers, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of salt, and a little veggie powder. If you can't use any of these spices, you can mix it up the way you want to. And of course, I'll be showing you how to mash tofu. So as we know, tofu is made from soya beans. It's very versatile. It takes the flavor of anything that you cook with, right? So you want to buy, of course, I had mentioned before, non-GMO, right? It's genetic. Soya beans is genetically modified. So what you want to do, anytime you go to the store, make sure it has that certified label on it that says non-GMO. And you can find those in the supermarkets anywhere. All right, so you want to take it out of the package, you want to drain the water, you want to pat the tofu dry, and then once that's done, it's ready to be used. So what I had done is I had pre-crushed some of the tofu, but I'm going to show you how to actually crush it and make it simple. So you're going to take your tofu, use a fork, or if you wish, you can use your hands. And you want to use extra firm tofu, right? The soft one is kind of used for dessert, so you want to use the extra firm. So it's easy to crush. Tofu is an excellent source of protein. So you know, sometimes you hear that people are plant-based or vegans or vegetarians, as we call them. And you're like, where do you get your protein from? And you're wondering, like, you have to get it from animal products? No, you don't. We can get it from beans. We can get it from tofu, exactly what we're doing today. So after we mash it, we're just going to add it to our already mashed one. And what I did with the mashed one, I forgot to mention, I added a little bit of turmeric. And the turmeric, as you know, is good for inflammation. And I did it because we want to give it like that slight yellow coloring. You know, when you do scrambled egg and you have that yellow, so you want tofu to kind of look like scrambled egg, but we're not eating the actual egg. So you see how easy that was to actually mash? And then you're just going to incorporate it in. And as I had said before, tofu, it comes in like soft, which we use for desserts. You have medium, and then you have firm and extra firm. I'd like to tend to use the extra firm one because it's not that watery and it gives your food like a nice consistency. So there we go. So now after we have mashed it, we're now going to go to the stove and start to prepare it. So let's go. All right, so what you want to do is turn your fire on to a medium heat and let the pot warm a bit. So, you know, you normally cook with oil. I'm going to show you how not to use a lot of oil, or just to eliminate oil out of your diet completely. Because you know that oil is very fattening. It goes into your arteries and it clogs it up. So we want to refrain from using too much oil, you know. So we're going to try to stay as healthy as possible. So once the pan is a little bit warm, you want to add your onions. And as you know, onions and garlic are, has antiviral and anti-inflammatory properties. So it's very good to cook with. So you just want to stir the garlic around, the onion around, and you don't want it to stick, right? When you see that it starts to stick, then you just add a little bit of water, not a lot. You don't want your onion swimming like that. And you just continue to stir, and you would just stir it until it becomes translucent. All right. So cooking with onions and garlic, I would recommend that it's a must. Every day when you're cooking, please add these to your ingredient list. So now we're just going to add the garlic. And you know garlic is very good for high blood pressure. So you want to, people with high blood pressure, you know, you want to take this on a regular basis. You want to cook with it. And again, if it's sticking, just a little bit of water. And then we're going to add our spices. So as before I had mentioned, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of salt, and oh, we're using pink Himalayan salt, not the regular table salt that has a lot of sodium. Pink Himalayan salt has a lot of trace minerals that is good for the body, and a little bit of veggie powder. So we're just going to combine that to the pot, and we just want to stir it in. And actually what you're doing is adding the heat to these spices to release the natural flavors that it has. Another thing with the spices, you don't want to keep them in your cupboards too long. If you notice that the smell is going, that means it has no use. There's no more nutrients left in it. So you have to have this very strong smell with your spices. So if you go in your cupboard and you have spices that's over 2 years, I would advise you to just replace them. All right. So now we're going to add our bell peppers, and you know, it's packed with vitamin C. It helps to build up the immunity. And we just want to add a little bit of water because the spices are sticking to the pot. And you can smell the flavors. It's so aromatic. All right. And once you stir it up for a little bit, then you will add your crushed scrambled tofu. And you don't have to cook this for a very long period of time because it's already like cooked or pre-cooked, as you would say. So you just want to stir it around. And you know, we eat with our eyes actually, so you want to incorporate a lot of colors into your meals when you're preparing them. So that's why I added the variety of bell peppers, the red and the green. And you let it on the stove for like about 5 minutes. You know, you just want all the tofu to be preheated. And if you wanted to add a little bit more brightness to it, you can add a tip more turmeric to it. As you know, turmeric is very good for inflammation. So if you have any pain in your body, you want to incorporate turmeric into your diet. You can actually make turmeric tea also and drink. And then we go ahead and now we're going to add our green onions. And we just stir it in. And if you wanted to add more vegetables like zucchini or tomatoes, feel free, go ahead. Like, you know, be creative when you're cooking. Add the variety of vegetables that you want. So now we're going to see how it looks on the plate. We'll be right back.
We all love good comfort food, especially when we're going through difficult times. But both you and I know that at the end of the day, while our bellies might be happy, our heart still is not. What is the answer when you are going through tough times? What is the answer to a situation where you're in emotional distress? I'm Pastor Sean Ellis, and I want to encourage you to join me on April the 8th, where I'm going to be giving messages. The series is called The Cure. Nightly messages, where we're going to look at the answer for the mind, body, and most importantly, the soul. Where we're going to explore the Bible, and you're going to see, for the first time perhaps, how there is an answer waiting for you in that book. And there's an answer waiting for you in the name of Jesus. So I want to encourage you, set aside your comfort food and join us for a series called The Cure, April 8th, running to the 16th, nightly messages that will really fill your soul.
All right, so welcome back. As we had mentioned here, we have the finished product, scrambled tofu. So as you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I know a lot of us like to skip breakfast because we're too hurried, or we feel full from the night before. And that's another reason that we shouldn't eat past a certain time, right? When you eat late in the night, your body spends time trying to digest the food that you have eaten. And then you wake up feeling very, very lethargic. So what you want to do is by 6 o'clock, the latest, no heavy meal, right? Your meal at that time should be like a light snack. Heaviest meal, breakfast. Second heaviest is lunch or dinner. And the third meal is very light. You want to stop eating by 6. It takes about 4 hours for your food to digest in your body, right? So you go to bed, your body heals at that time. But if your stomach is filled, your body cannot heal, right? It's working to try and to digest the food. So it's important that we go to bed on an empty stomach. As you know, our breakfast should consist of 3 to 5 servings of fruit. And what we consider a serving is a handful. So whatever can hold in your hand, that's 1 serving. So take, for instance, an apple. If you have an apple, that's 1. A banana can fit in both hands, that's 2 servings. So an apple and a banana, that's 2 to 3 servings right there. You're good to go. Your fruits are covered. Then you want to make sure you have 1 to 2 whole grains. And when I talk about whole grains, we're talking about anything like quinoa, your corn, your whole wheat flour, healthy stuff, right? And then you talk about your protein. And protein, plant-based protein, we're talking about our beans. And then we have fats. And fats, as you know, we have avocados, you have your nuts and your seeds. So that you want to make sure fresh fruits, your whole grains, your protein, and your fats. So that's 4 type of food groups that you want to incorporate into your breakfast idea, right? So as you know, as I said before, we eat with our eyes. So we want to make our food very nourishing, very tasty, and very attractive. Use a lot of spices, use a lot of natural ingredients, right? You don't want to buy store-bought stuff that comes in a package. Those are not healthy. A tip is if you're reading an ingredient, you cannot pronounce it, best bet, your body cannot digest it. So you want to stay far away from that, right? When you cook your food, you know what you're putting in your body and what you're feeding it. Remember, what you give your body is what it produces. You want to have a healthy mind, you eat healthy food, right? Plan your meal in advance. Sometimes we come home from work, we don't know what to cook, and you grab for the quickest thing in your cupboards. No, I would take a day. I suggest Sundays if you have time. Plan out your meal for the week, right? And make sure you have those ingredients in the house. And then you meal prep, like you pre-cut your vegetables, you serve out your rice, whatever it is, you want to prepare it in advance. So when you come, you have these things done. You just put it by your stove, bam, bam, bam. Quick, in no time, everything is done. Please do not shop when you're hungry. When you are hungry, you choose to buy a lot of unnecessary things, right? And stuff that is even not healthy for you. So you want to go to the supermarket after you've had your breakfast or after you've had your lunch, whatever it is, and pick up the stuff on your grocery list. And another thing, you want to make enough food to have leftovers to create another meal, right? So take, for instance, this tofu here. If you have enough leftover for tomorrow, we could incorporate it into one of our meals, either breakfast or lunch, whatever it is. And then that's one meal that you don't have to worry about. Remember, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Thank you for watching Apple Creek Cooking Channel. And if you like what you see, remember to subscribe if you're on YouTube. Until next time.